Hello everyone, happy holidays or Merry Christmas Eve if you're celebrating Christmas. It's Kyra Nankabel. Today I'm going to be talking about the CFAT, which is the Canadian Forces Aptitude Test. So that is a test that every single person who wants to join the Canadian Armed Forces has to take in order to be enrolled. Now the CFAT is a multiple choice test. There are 4 possible answers, but only 1 correct answer. And the test is about 45 minutes long, and there's 3 sections, okay? So there's verbal skills, spatial ability, and problem solving. So verbal skills has some vocabulary questions, some antonym, synonym questions, as well as word analogies. And that has 15 questions that you have to complete in 5 minutes, okay? The next section is spatial ability. So this involves folding or unfolding different 3D shapes. I'll show you some examples of this so you know what I'm talking about. But in this section, you have 15 questions, but only 10 minutes. So that's just over 1 question per minute, okay? Now the last section is problem solving. This section involves a range of questions such as number sequences, arithmetic word problems, image analogies, as well as image sequences. Again, I'll show you guys some examples in later videos, but this section has 30 questions in 30 minutes, okay? That's 1 question per minute. Please keep that in mind. They'll retell you all of this information when you go to do your CFAT, but going into it, expect to be doing multiplication, long division quickly, okay? So I'm gonna make a video, problem solving video, where I go through long multiplication, long division, but really get fluent with those operations before you write this test. Even I found it fast, and I'm in like a math kind of degree, because I'm in engineering, right? So we do a lot of math. But it was still a bit fast for me, so just keep that in mind, okay? So just to recap that, there's 3 sections. Verbal skills has 15 questions in 5 minutes. Spatial ability has 15 questions in 10 minutes. And problem solving has 30 questions in 30 minutes for a total test time of 45 minutes, okay? So when you take the CFAT test, you would take it before or after your force test. In my case, when I completed my force test, there was a recruiter who said, okay, next week we have these time slots available to do the CFAT. Just sign up for one and then you'll write it on that day. So I signed up for the earliest time on the earliest day, which was 8 a.m. on a Monday. So that was 5 days after I completed my force test. Keep in mind that this will vary drastically depending on how your unit is doing the recruiting and all of those things, how many people are applying, etc., etc. But I wrote my CFAT 5 days after I completed my force test at Denison Armory. So although I did my test very early at 8 a.m., there are later time slots as far as I know. But just work with your recruiter and just talk with him or her about what works for you, because this is a mandatory test, keep in mind. So like I said before, any potential CAF member or recruit needs to complete this test. In my case, my recruiter administered my test, so he actually set it up and everything. And the reason why you would have to take this test is to qualify for your occupation in the military. So keep in mind there are different scores that you need to get in order to be qualified for your position. Furthermore, you may actually have to score higher in one section of the test. So you may have to get a certain score overall, but you also may have to get, say, a higher problem solving score within that. Unfortunately, these scores and these cutoffs are not released, but even if they were released, my recruiter told me that if he told me my score, I wouldn't be able to understand what it meant. So just take it with a grain of salt. Just be aware that you may need to get a higher score in one category or the other. For example, I was told with engineering I needed a high problem solving score as well as a high score overall. I'm pretty sure for something like artillery, you need a higher score in spatial ability, just because you're judging distances and things like that. So yeah, just keep that in mind, but don't worry too much about it. Just do your best, that's all you can do, and I'm sure it will be great. So how is the test administered? So usually it's done online, so on a computer, but when I went to do my test, the system was down apparently, so we actually had to do the paper version. So we had a paper question booklet and then a bubble sheet, but regardless of whether you do it online or on paper, you will be given scrap paper to work on and a couple pencils that all have erasers. So don't worry about that. So even if you're doing it on the computer, you can still, jot notes and work out questions on the paper. You are not given a calculator. You're not allowed a calculator. So please keep that in mind. Don't expect to be able to do the arithmetic with the calculator, okay? You need to know multiplication tables. You need to know how to do long division, all right? Just keep that in mind. No calculators are allowed in this exam. In terms of keeping track of the time, you can wear a watch. When I did my test, the paper version, they had like this big countdown set up for every question, so we could all see it. But if you're doing the online test, I think that it's shown on the screen. I'm not 100% certain of that, but if I were designing that program, I would put the countdown on the screen for each section. If not, they will make sure that you know the time, so don't worry about that. Or just wear your own watch, that works too. But with all of that in mind, I have written down some tips for you guys. So the first one is, don't be late, because that will add stress. And you're probably already a bit nervous, so just try not to make it worse for yourself and just try to be early or on time. And second tip, be very aware of the time while you are doing the test, okay? Because, like I said, especially for problem solving, you have 30 questions and 30 minutes. 1 question per minute. You need to know whether you're ahead of time, on time, or behind time so that you can adjust your method appropriately, right? That being said, if you are running out of time, which you would also know by being aware of the time, then just guess the rest of the answers. Remember, there's 4 possible solutions for each of them, so you have a 25% chance of getting it right, which isn't great, but there's no penalty for getting it wrong. So that's what I'm saying, like, don't leave questions blank, just guess, because the odd chance that you get the extra mark, that's great, right? Third tip is prepare yourself mentally and physically. Physically being, eat good food, eat whole meals before your test, the day of, but also the days before, right? Make sure your body is at peak performance. The second thing in that is study. So you need to learn how to do long multiplication and long division, okay? Please, please, please. I'm going to put it in another video. You can watch that. You can Google it. You can just practice it on your own. You can watch some other YouTube videos. Just learn how to do that, okay? Because that's really important. And do as many practice questions as possible. I did a practice test that my recruiter sent me, and I don't think I passed that test. So, because I remember feeling like panicked afterwards and feeling like I really need to do something to get better. So what I did was I just Googled like CFAT exam, practice, help, blah, blah, blah. And I found armytest.com. And I've talked about it before, but I really do think it's like the best way to get better, because I signed up for that program within like 1 to 2 days before my CFAT exam. And they have around like 745 questions or something. But I only got through half of them before my CFAT exam. And I still felt a lot more prepared than I would have earlier, So if you, it's only $30 as well for 6-month access. So if you really want to do well, especially if this is like your last chance at it, I would say just do it. Just spend the money and just go through the questions. There's a arithmetic helper, there's a personal assistant, all different types of things, different tools that you can use. So yeah, like I said, it helped a lot. Felt more confident after that. Felt so confident, in fact, that I wanted to share it with all of you. So I reached out to the company and we got a promo set up. So go check out the site. I'll put the link in the description below. And if you are interested in getting access, then just go ahead and sign up. Like I said, it's $30 to join the program. Use my link to support my channel. It would mean a lot to me, I could get some new equipment and whatnot. And I am trying really hard to give you guys content that you can benefit from. And as a bonus, because it's the season of giving, I am willing to personally help you with any questions that you have. So if you get stuck or you just have a general question, feel free to DM me. If it's more of like a problem solving question, I can work it out on my iPad, screen record it, and send it to you. I'm on your team. I want you to do well. I want you to do really well. So you get the occupation that you desire. You feel good, confident, you learn some stuff. It's going to be great. That's the deal, guys. Go check it out. Sign up. Treat yourself this Christmas and ace that CFAT test. As always, if you haven't already, if you got value from this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Helps a lot. I'm going to be making some more videos this was just kind of an intro to the CFAT, so you know what you're getting into. But there will be videos on the specific topics, so spatial ability, verbal skills, and problem solving. Thanks so much, guys. Have a great day. Merry Christmas.